Okay. Just to check microphone if online participants can hear me well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay. Well, then we can start. We can start. Well, welcome to our panel discussion on how to implement incentives for participation in grant applications, or I would say maybe in more simple words, how to motivate researchers. What are the best strategies to motivate them to take part and take in a journey of grant application? So each one of our panelists have, they were already introduced at the beginning. They have rich knowledge on this topic and a lot of experience in applying for funding and grants. So these are some main challenges that we actually have to discuss today, and I hope that we will try to solve them. So we did in order to guide this discussion efficiently, these are some key questions that I hope that our panelists will answer. So what type of strategies have proven to be effective in encouraging researchers to engage in grant application processes? Are there specific strategies or best practices that institutions can adapt to foster a culture of active participation in grant applications? Are there enough incentives aimed at researchers at all stages of their career? And moreover, how to include and involve more early stage researchers in this process, how them to be motivated to take an active role in grant application and in project leadership. In case, if we have more time, we will go maybe more into the practical, in the practical direction. So basically from the perspective of writing a proposal and drafting it. So what our panelists think are the impact and the innovation as obligatory part of EU funding scheme, are they overrated? So with this question in mind, we can maybe open a panel, and maybe we can start with that first question about the strategies, which our panelists think that they are important. So maybe I would start with Djurdja because she's our host today, and to break the ice.
Okay, I will try to answer this, but I think I can get help from Jelena and Maja regarding the differences in institution. For me, I think that personal motivation is a key here because we don't have that top-down approach that forces you to apply. You don't have to in order to have a job, but I think the things are changing and we are having now scientific positions at the university that has to have some sort of career within the project. They are not like a professors teaching students, but they are just focusing on science. So I think the track record will be and has to be evaluated throughout the project participation. And I think, okay, that is the first strategy to increase the number of the application. And secondly, everything that Jelena said in her presentation, I think is very important. To receive funding here is something how can you conduct your research, because you don't receive funding for research itself throughout the national programs. You just receive the personnel costs, something like that. So you really have to have the resource to conduct the research. Otherwise, you cannot buy anything from the equipment, from consumables, really make your idea come true. So I
Not
think
to sustain you.
not to sustain
the project
yes.
after the competition. That's the big problem.
Yes.
Especially the projects related to the environmental protection. We are speaking about that project. I agree with Djurdja, but I'm from Faculty of Technical Sciences. I can speak about this topic as from two perspectives. If you are applying from the University of Novi Sad, so if you are going for projects like Erasmus, or we can speak about but the answers will be the same since we don't have the clear strategies from not from the university or from the faculty. Okay, we have some offices. We are relying on the people who likes their jobs.
Yeah.
And if they like their jobs and if they know you well, they will help you. They will meet your needs. Otherwise, if you are early stage, they don't have time because they're administrating a lot of projects within the institutions. So that's the first problem for me. Like when we are speaking about the strategies from the institution, because you have to have support. Not just for somebody to force you, but also maybe to motivate you to apply for the projects. From faculty technical sciences, we have like 13 faculties in the faculty technical sciences, 13 departments.
You're basically
University.
If I can speak like that because then it sounds horrible and wrong when you're speaking somewhere else about it. But when I went to the projects, while I was preparing, I realized that still there is a higher portion of projects from the teaching staff than from the research staff.
from the researchers.
Yes,
And that's
And-
actually a paradox.
that's a paradox. That's a big paradox. Yes, because still as a professors, if we want to go further, so to be elected for associate or full professor, we have to fulfill some requirements. Beside all others, there are some like coordination of the projects or participating in the projects. And as for researchers in the higher education institutions, there is no KPIs still. They have some obligations now related to the new law and so on, but it is still more flexible than, like I said, than for the teaching staff.
I hear that Djurdja agrees. What do you think? What is the reason why the teaching staff has more? Why the people are more motivated?
I can speak from my side, but I think that they will agree with me. First, when you're a teacher, you need some kind of case studies which you would like to show to your students. Then also, if you want to apply for some kind of work with a market or you need expertise, you need a rich CV, yeah. So you need to fulfill. Then there is that's a personal perspective. If you want, I'm somebody who likes to who is for lifelong learning, and somebody who likes to work. So it's just personal, yeah. And I think that still, yeah, because we have to fulfill some requirements. For the researchers from faculty of technical sciences, there is no like a strong tasks or requirements that they have to fulfill in order to have the job.
Okay, so I would like to also ask Regis for opinions.
Yeah.
Yes. To hear what is the situation in France, because we already heard from Jelena today a lot. She had a great presentation, basically talking about her career path. So, what is the situation in France concerning motivation and how the researchers get encouraged to take part?
I think the most motivation or the main motivation is to progress in their career. If they want to become a full professor because they started as assistant professor, and if they want to become a full professor, they need to reach some level in either supervising PhD student or leading project. In France, there are a number of funding schemes for young researchers, and the most widely used is the one offered by the French National Research Agency, because there is two types of main project which are proposed. Though some are involving several partners, and some of them involve only one. And the project that could be funded by the French National Research Agency with only one partner is dedicated to young researchers. And the idea is that they first apply to this type of project. If they succeed in such project, they could then be helped to apply to European project. This is the natural scheme of progress in research leading project. But there are also now some other possibilities if you want to be involved in a European project, because from now, let's say 3 to 5 years, there is new type of features proposed by the European Union. I don't know if it has been evoked this morning. This is the what we call the European Alliance. European Alliance is a consortium made of 9 universities from at least 3 or 5 different countries. And the idea is that they are funding by the Europe to construct some project based on both teaching, but also research. And the idea is that there's some work package leading by at least one of the member of this consortium. And the idea is that to share practices in teaching, but also in research. And there is some phases for 5, I think it's 5 years phases. For example, in our lab, we are involved in 2 different alliances, because there is one with École des Ponts and another one with UPEC. And for UPEC, it started 3 years ago. It's called Aurora, and there is 9 countries involved in it. So this is the main scheme of how to be project leaders if you want to progress in your career. For example, Julian starting by leading a project for young researchers. It was 3 years ago. Your project ending 3 years ago. And I hope, as a chair of my lab, that he will be involved in the leading of a European project in the future.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I understood that the situation is similar to ours, but regarding the motivation of young researchers, I would like to point out the Promise program. Let's say from our
National
national
scheme.
fund. I think it's a good way, because here young researchers are really frightened at what they're getting themselves into, and I had a great experience. Okay, it was a first one, it was a pilot project. They also didn't have what they're putting themselves into, because for 10 years we didn't have any sort of the program. So we have even live interviews. You have to defend your idea, like pitch the project in front of a 10-member board. You don't know who the board were. It was different sciences present, and I know it was probably lower quality than later, because none of us have the experience with writing the project and the evaluation process that is mostly like European one. And I think that is a great way, because you have the opportunity to have a smaller team. Not so much is expected of you in terms of deliverables and the whole project idea. And I think it's a good way of training. And I saw some examples. I think it's on a long run in on Serbian faculties, that even a faculty itself gives small grants for their researchers, just to teach them how the connection between giving a task and giving back the results really functions, and everything stays within the house. I think it's a good approach, but it requires a lot of finances, yes, to train them in those kind of business.
So to summarize, you would recommend to your younger colleagues that those national funding opportunities are perfect stepping stone
for me, yes.
And that was on your career
on my career path, and also Jelena mentioned on the European level, those starting grants. I think that's a great way. The first promise was 10 years from PhD because they didn't want to exclude anyone because of that 10-year-old veto periods. Now, in the second round, they decreased to 7 years from the PhD. I think it's because now the thing with the national fund is warming up, and you have the opportunities every year for 1 or 2 calls to apply. But for me, for young researcher, promise call is definitely a good stepping stone. Yes.
Yeah. In your opinion, since you are coming from Serbia and you have lots of experience, like we saw your career path in Australia, now you are in Spain. What do you think? What we can do at the institutional level? So, what our management, our leadership, our office, what we can do internally to create that culture and to increase the grant application rate between our researchers?
Super easy question. What's
Please tell us the secret recipe. Because you know what are constraints and what are potential weaknesses here.
So I think the first condition to prevent the brain drain is to change this mentality of hierarchy that is ingrained heavily in all aspects of Balkan life. Okay, so not only Serbia, because I think people who really want to move, if you stop them, then what do? They go away. Okay, so what I mean is that, and I don't know, I mean, this is promise because one year I did do the evaluation of this project.
Yeah.
I criticized that heavily when I saw that there is a PI, I don't know.
No more on that.
I know.
Yeah.
But the first
Yeah.
fall,
Yeah.
they had like this weird thing where you kind of put kind of the young researcher early career in the first row, but then really who is moving,
Yes.
and you see it in the budget, basically, it's this whatever, and then
Yeah.
it was PI, never retire. So I think that this kind of enabling this early to mid-career, I don't know anymore what is mid-career. I mean, in science it can be 12 years after your PhD or 15, but in giving them more freedom, giving them leadership opportunities, that's first condition. Without that, then no talent, no real talent will stay, I think. Yeah. And I think maybe the fastest kind of way for really ambitious researchers are these ERC grants, because there you don't need connections for consortia, because in Horizon projects there's also a bit of a kind of clubs. Okay, so I mean, I don't know, there's some very good projects, but there are some projects that keep getting rewritten, and it's always the same consortium over and over and over again. Okay, so if you're not part of that game, it's difficult to. It's okay. I don't So, hello.
Taking pictures. Yes.
So I think that so that's kind of giving this information out to people. I think I'm absolutely sure you would have here potential ERC grantees. They are just not even thinking that this is an option for them. So.
But your main message is basically to supervisors, to managers.
Yes, to your office. Yeah, well, giving out this kind of information really well. So doing as many information days and whatever you want to call them. I don't know, seminars, writing courses, trainings, or we have unfortunately plenty of Serbian researchers that have won ERC grants outside. Okay, so that's why they're not part of the statistics as Serbia. I mean, I know 2 persons only in Barcelona who are from Belgrade and who are ERC grantees, double even ERC grants. So there's plenty of help that you could get for these kind of, I don't know, training, let's call it training seminars on how to write this grant, because they are a little bit different than typical Horizon projects. And then I think anyone who, for example, is finishing PhD here really should be looking at something in terms of international mobility. So the Marie Curie grant or similar, or whatever, I don't know, one of these grants. So this is also that I think your office, I mean, I know you think it's a brain drain, but essentially it's also good. I mean, those who want to come back, they will come back. I mean, it's it's better if they do go outside, because you can't only count on, I think, what you kind of gain in one place, whether it's Serbia or Spain or, I mean.
Brain drain, it doesn't have to be necessarily a negative thing. It can be like a future contact with research institutions.
If you give them this information, this opportunity, you know, in the end, it's still a 2-year fellowship. I mean, those people do need to then find a job again. And probably many of them would also decide to go back, but that's where they go, if they go.
And I would add for motivation, there's a fear of failure. We don't have that good culture that it's not so bad to fail sometimes. And I think a lot of people does not apply because they think they will fail, they will let down the supervisors, etc. I think it's okay. It's better to try than not to try now.
Yeah, you can learn
Yeah.
from
Yes, you can learn from.
Yeah, I would suggest also maybe more transparent reviews processions, processes, since depends on the call, of course. Sometimes we are getting the same review comments. Yes, like the same, like they are generated in some suspicious.
At the national calls, or
Also international. There is also international calls. Yeah.
so we are
My
talking
colleagues.
about evaluation.
Evaluation, yes, yes. I always suggest to my young associates to try, because if they to try to apply even on a hard course, because then you can get a very good review comment, and then you can learn from that mistakes, that they're not mistakes, that they're just like some kind of maybe mismatches. You didn't, I don't know, you didn't tackle the specific objective or something in a good way, in a proper way. But it's the good way to see where are you in that process of applying, you know, and you cannot know that before you try to apply.
It's a good practice.
It's a good practice, but the problem, I don't know, maybe my colleagues from technical sciences have the same problem, because people here, the motivation is low also because they're always telling me, oh, we are writing something for months or two. We're not getting money for that, you know,
Yes.
and then we fail. So I think that the situation has been changed, you know, that the new generation wants to know what is their benefit from that. My first director, when I started to work, Professor Vujić, he had some, but we had money at the time, a lot of good projects and money. He motivated people, young scientists, to apply. He was giving them some kind of financial support. I think that it would be great important these days, because especially you have to have some kind of something that you already figured out, and you need money to figure out something, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then you can apply for the grant for something. You cannot start from the idea, like there is no working package now, need analysis anymore. Now you're starting from doing the activities. So it would be good if we can find some kind of, maybe not on an institutional level, but maybe on national level, some kind of free grants. I don't know what there is something like that in Spain.
For writing.
Like some
for preparing.
pre-examination, no, something like pre-examination, like you apply for with some idea to try to go for some kind of lab scale work or something, and then to write
Maybe two-phase project
Yes,
application.
two-phase projects, you write the entire project. It's just two-phase project makes no meaning. You write the entire project anyhow. It's just that in the first stage, they evaluate just the short version. So for you, it's the same amount of work, but no,
because for us, maybe it's easier for us because we have some previous experiences, we have some previous projects, so we conclude something that we are missing something, and we are going to the next level. And for young scientists, it is very hard, you know, because they don't have some previous experiences, previous results. So maybe on institutional level, then to support them to have their own small-scale research projects to figure out for the grant applications.
Yes, and you mentioned the generic evaluation reports. I think my theory is that in every, at least national call, you have now hinted national strategies that you have to answer it. And the people are not spend time figuring out whether that is the right call for them. So they make a project call, and the evaluators in the fund see that it's not really in line with the strategic, and they don't put an effort to find the evaluator for it. So I think I saw when there was one call for social science, since it was finished, then came something that you see it's for natural sciences, and you still have a lot of social scientist applicants, and you know that they're not going to pass in a large number, and we have those Facebook groups with the research community, and you see that they have those generic reports because they just, for me, missed the call for them. So finding the right call for you, it's very important, and nobody reads the introduction part with the strategies, national or international, that you need to answer. And you know, if you're obliged to that, you will probably go further. That's my conclusion.
Okay, so now I've heard about those generic reports.
Yeah.
Jelena, can you tell us, you said that like there is so many times that you have to try and then succeed. I guess that you sometimes
My success rate.
rejected.
That's top secret.
Yeah, that's not the question. The question is, have you found these evaluation reports when being unsuccessful? Have you found them useful to use them for the next proposal writing?
So on a European level, well, yeah, actually on a national level, I didn't have that many figures, but let's say, so European level evaluation, I think it's good. It's pretty solid. Okay. In general, there are some calls that are just absurdly competitive. And for example, if you write one of these, I don't know if you're familiar with Marie Curie doctoral networks. Okay. So these projects are just stupid. I'm sorry, because this is just like there's very little science there. It's all blah, blah, blah. And this blah, blah, blah is a copy paste in all projects. So when you get the evaluation report, it's totally useless. So you can't really learn anything.
See mobilities and secondments.
Yeah, but I mean, the structure of the project leaves very little space for actually writing about science. So the evaluation is based on, I don't know, many other different factors, and in the end, it's all these projects, they look the same. And I mean, I don't know. I worked on both sides as an evaluator, as an applicant. I was unsuccessful with these things.
But when we talk about projects which are more
well, for example,
innovation oriented,
what I got is because for consolidator grant for the bigger project, the 2 million one, I applied 2 times. So first time I got to the interview and didn't get it. And because you actually get the report after it's all done, right? So I found this report extremely useful. It helped me a lot, as well as the questions I got at the interview. But this project is purely about science. So that was useful, for example. And it helped me like second time around, I managed to get a project.
Okay. Regis,
Yes.
are you with us?
Yes, I'm still with you.
We are very sorry that you are not here with us in Orisat. Could you please answer us what are the main challenges, and maybe let's say what are the pitfalls and barriers that researchers face in this grant application process? What is some most common pitfall that you would advise to be avoided?
Before to answer this question, just a few words about the reason why there is so less young chercheurs that apply to a European grant. Because we have the same problem in France. It has been observed that, as I said, few young French researchers submit projects such as starting ERC grant. And if you look at the success in this starting grant, in fact, there are only very few grant orders by French researchers. And many reasons were identified. The main one being that obtaining such a grant was reserved only for brilliant researchers. This is what young researchers are thinking. So they're afraid of applying. And as a consequence, it was decided to set up an office to encourage applicants to write projects. And this office is managed at the level of the university. And the idea is that it provides assistance in writing the project, as it was said before, because the general framework to follow to get through the various stage, it's to write properly your project, because it's not just writing in English, it's also writing in European language, because there's some administrative rules to respect. And then once you overcome the first part, then you have the interview, and then generally it's needed to apply 1 to 2 times to get a project. But the main difficulties is to convince young researchers that they have the good idea and let's start, because they're afraid of having to fail. They're afraid of failure. But this is the reason why this office has been launched. It's 10 years ago. And at this time, I think at UPEC, we have only 3 ERC grant in chemistry, much more in medicine, because medicine are more applying on those type of grant.
Failure.
Djurdja, you already in your previous answer, you gave also answer to this. So first of all, you need to know that the call is
Yeah.
for your bill.
For you.
Yeah, for you.
And you can fail, of course.
This sounds like the first people.
Yeah.
You have to identify the right
For
call.
me, yes, identify the right call.
What are other difficulties that personally you were facing?
For me, okay, when I started, I didn't know nothing about project writing. I think we didn't have a good preparation before the promise call. We didn't know that the body of science fund is going to be developed. Nobody told us. They just announced the first call, and I was then with Dragana in this room having first some sort of training about Maria Curie projects within our professor Stojanović, and he said, okay, I know the promise is happening, I will give you a few hints, even if it's not the subject here. So he gave us something, how to write an introduction. He had like 15 minutes for that.
It's quite good when you're.
Yes, he is great. Later on, I went, I don't know, numerous of his trainings. For me, it's a sort of, I don't know, Jelena, zanat. How to translate?
A craft.
A craft to write a project, yeah. It's something that is systematically, of course, you give that special something with your idea, but
Right.
yes,
Special
but
ingredient,
I think,
ingredient.
yes, you have to know the craft and something about people here in Serbia. I think we are always struggling with impacts and with value chain, because here you are learning to do something just to do it. You don't getting it in a broader context, why it's really important, and also always, and I think the impact is maybe one of the most important parts of a project application, and I think everybody are struggling with that section, and we are just now learning how to perceive your idea, and your idea has to be competitive. Maybe you don't have the resources here in Serbia to conduct some sort of research that will have impact outside on a global scale. Yes, and value chain, I think I still don't know.
Do you think that the impact is overrated? Like in those European Union funding programs?
For me, I don't know, maybe overrated in a sense that, of course, not every project will have the global impact. Small steps are important, like a chain. Yeah, you have to have each part.
Like do locally?
Yes,
think
think
globally.
globally. I always say that, but okay, you can extract the impact from that. But I think we have to develop our ideas in that way. Okay, what will that bring to not the world, but in a broader sense, maybe further when the research is developing, not just throughout this project. But for me, that's important, not just mixing something. And I think what Maja mentioned in the beginning, why we are maybe more motivated, because environmental sciences are something that is always developing, that basic science, not so much application comes from, yeah, and we have to have it because you have to teach your students and some real example.
Yeah.
I cannot talk about periodic system of elements, yes, we have actual professors for that, so we have to show what is going on, what is the latest research, what is happening in our field. So one of the ways is that you have a first-hand experience throughout the projects. Thank you.
Maja.
I don't think that it is overrated, like impact, yeah, because also I would mention, I would not exclude sustainability. I think that here in Serbia, I'm speaking now for Serbia, that we have problem with sustainability of the project, because we are always writing how we will sustain, and okay, it passed, we get good grades, but in most of cases we don't sustain our project, and it's a pity because there is a lot of good projects we had. Not just my research team or the projects from the Pejović, no, but all the others. Some platforms were developed, which could be used for further project activities, but they are not. I'm not sure what is happening. I'm trying to solve the problem on my team locally, but I'm not sure what is the problem. We are trying to use our self-develop something for in I don't know, lectures, lessons, further projects, but still it is not enough. Like it is not it is not something that we have promised. We promised a lot more, but happily we don't have the check of that after the project completion.
Yeah,
But still, it has to be very well articulated in the proposal.
Yes, yes. I don't know when we are speaking how to motivate people. I think it is not problem with us because with this
It's them.
For sitting here,
we are motivated.
Okay.
No, but
because people who are sitting here,
No,
they are motivated.
for the rest of us in our in our position, they are motivated. They found their motivation. We have a good teams, well-known teams of professors from different faculties with great projects, and we are waiting for them. Wow, what is the next her work? But related to this young scientist, I still don't know how to motivate it. For instance, we are now trying 2 or 3 years for now. We are trying to recruit the people during their studies. When we see that they are interested in the things that we are doing, that we are exploring,
You're recognizing potential.
yes, we ask them if they want to be the part of our team. Yes, and we offer some kind, not money at the beginning, not money, because we are taking them from the 3rd year, not money, but maybe on the 4th they get some kind of I don't know, staff cost. But we are offering them the opportunity to travel. Yeah, we have one project. Our professor Alexandra has project with a lot of opportunities for instance, for young people to travel. So we were sending our colleagues, young colleagues, through that project. So I think that we can find way to motivate people who are interested in that. You cannot motivate somebody that is not interested in something new to learn or to I don't know. Maybe that's the problem. We are coming back on the Djurdja's first sentence that it's on a personal, really very personal level. Yeah, and also for me in this stage, I think that maybe administration is something that always it is not attractive to the people. You know, when they see how much of papers they have to generate, not just the papers related to the project proposal, but all the others. I have some team from my faculty, from my department. They just gave it up when they see how many paperwork was related to this last call of diaspora.
Yeah, no, we participate.
Okay, so now we come to also one of my questions, because we know that scientists, they hate bureaucracy and they hate paperwork and administration. And with these projects, we are also trying to make them project managers, and they have that burden of administrative work. So what can be done to streamline and to decrease that pressure on the scientists? Everybody. I don't know if we can.
Next question. No.
Question, it's
Do you think
question
it's meaning less bureaucratic in Serbia? You're wrong.
it's a question.
But it's
what can be
on
done?
the PIs of the project, like,
Sorry.
is everything regarding the administration?
No,
Yeah.
no, not everything, because, well, she's not here. I have
Yeah,
one.
well,
She works.
Yeah, I think here
She's
they are.
administrating.
Yes.
Yes,
You just we are getting personnel costs as researchers office from national costs. I don't know any international. Maybe it's different, but now they're thinking. I heard that you have like just the people for managing projects. You can pay him to manage the project. He does not have to be involved in the science. Just filling the.
We have experience with that.
We have?
Yeah, we have through our IPA project. We just got the third one, and one office, management office from Hungary is helping us. And that is good, because you have somebody who is like taking you through your project. We actually planned everything, and now that girl, she's going through everything. She's reminding us. She's like living, I don't know how to say, alarm, something like that.
Yeah.
So sorry for breaking the thought. Was he included in also writing the proposal, or she got the job, or she got hired? She was hired after.
First time she was concluding during the writing project. After
Okay.
that, when we learned, we wrote the project. Yeah, because there is a lot of there is something with prices of that agency. It is expensive, quite expensive. But we concluded that at the end of the project, that girl knew more about that project than myself. For example, regarding yeah, because she had to understand it. That's the other thing related to that. Okay, you can find somebody, but if if that person does not understand or is not willing to understand the things you wrote, it can be very hard, and then you are paying for nothing actually. Okay, she can remind you, okay, now it's time to deliver, I don't know, a report or to have a meeting, but that's the only thing that she can help you then.
So basically, the profile of the person is project manager, but with a background,
Yes.
with a scientific background.
You have to have a good tone. When you are looking for somebody who will manage the project, because there are a lot of PMPs, and I don't know how they call that, people who passed a lot of exams, and they know everything we already know, how to write sustainability, how to write project dissemination and parts of the project. But then after that, she has to, she's some kind of guide for us. But she knows what we have promised. She understands what we have promised. That girl is speaking about microplastic section, and she's a project manager, and she can present that project anywhere, confidently and with a lot of expertise. Yeah.
So this is basically a big support to have.
When you have it depends on the project scale. When you have high scale projects is more than 2 million euros, then it's good to have somebody, because you have to focus on the work, you have to have the deliverables. There is a lot of deliverables. There is a pressure about the time to manage. There is 9 countries involved, and then it will be very hard for somebody who is PI to take his job and not work on activities that he or she plans on.
Do you have a good administrative support at the Faculty of Technical Sciences? Do you have a structure that supports you?
No.
Next.
That's actually.
No, I have I have to mention, I like to mention names because when I like people, I like to mention that people, I have my Olivera Schultz. Olivera Schultz, we have Vladimir Petrović, everybody knows.
Yeah.
And they are working at the scientific.
Yes, and he was like when I imagine the project office, I imagine somebody like Vladimir working over there, because when you call Vladimir and you ask him, okay, what does it mean, or what is this? He can explain. I don't know how, but he knows everything. But Olivera Schultz now, she's a hardworking girl. You can call her anytime, but related to the administrative work, because she's overloaded. You know, when Vladimir Todorović was managing that office, there was a smaller amount of project then, a small number of projects over there at the over then, and then he can do that things. He can help us actually. Now there is a lot of projects on technical sciences, and the person who is responsible for that, she can help you just like go to administration needed, but not actually
Immediate needs, not
just immediate needs. Yeah. So, but we need it. I have a vision how our office should be, and who should work there.
Great. Well, I really hope I can keep fingers in some near future.
I hope so.
Okay, Jelena. Our keywords: innovation. Keyword in all European Union projects and many international projects. Is it overrated? How would you
No.
define?
Absolutely not. Any impact either. No, I mean, if you can't innovate and have an impact, then you should better don't write a project. I mean, I think that, I mean, I really think that to realize if something is innovative, the only way to do that is that you have read, I don't know, hundreds of papers related to what you're doing, okay? Because copy pasting is useless for science. I mean, so yeah, no, absolutely not overrated. I'm not really sure what else to say.
Yeah.
So not being afraid to make mistakes, trying to do something completely in a different way.
No, but I mean, there is, okay, so besides having this component really strong, well, both of them, and then other things, you need to be able to articulate it. And what Djurdja said before about that being a crowd, that's absolutely true. So for me, I learned how to write projects by being extremely unsuccessful in Australia. I wrote and I got nothing, absolutely. So I think that
Specialism in the Australia. So, specialism or
I was on the wrong continent. I
or
don't
just
know.
that phase of.
I don't know, but
research
it's
career.
absolutely it's a truth.
Maybe
I mean,
just on the wrong
She would
part
not
of
tell
the guide.
for your science.
I don't know. I was just I just couldn't get. I mean, I did get one fellowship. That's true, but I wrote. I don't know. Every year I wrote. Well, doesn't matter what project. Some scheme that then Maria was. Yeah, she was also unsuccessful. She also learned how to write projects. So I think that that's. I mean, why would you be afraid to fail? That's just nonsense. I mean,
Yes, but
you can't just write one or two projects and expect to get funded. I mean, that's science.
Yes.
It's a game of winning and losing, mostly losing, actually.
Yes, it's like 10% success rate, I think. And it's also now on a national level, I think, like that's, for me, it's okay. You that time implemented in project writing, for me, it's never wasted. You just get
You're learning. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you don't maybe get the recognition here for writing it and failing because all of that time is not valued. We also had a colleague that worked in Italy. He thought that whoever is trying to write application and writes application, some unsuccessful, some successful, should get rewarded in cost for a chair or a department because at least you are trying.
But that's part of your job. We don't get paid for writing projects.
You don't get here, it's a little bit different.
Yes.
As we said, you can do nothing, just teach. And get that teaching salary, this everything else is extra. I think 60% of our personnel cost is the teaching cost, yes, and everything you get is a surplus. So but of course you need the papers and the conference attendance and everything for develop even teaching career, for the next step.
Yeah, but the criteria is.
But the criteria is,
But you
yes.
can pass it, so you don't have to have.
But they're raising the bar, like every couple of years, they acquire more papers,
Yeah.
more projects. Even your faculty can have stricter rules than the university level ones regarding, okay, what is my inner strategy? So that is one motivation if you want even to keep a teaching job. But as I said, now we have just research stuff that began, I don't know, like a couple of years ago.
I'm radical in that way because.
Yes, you have like a institute within a faculty.
And I would give salaries, if you met your KPI, just like in all the other businesses, you know, you cannot work in a factory or private company if you didn't fulfill some kind of requirements from your boss or owner or I don't know, director. So I'm not,
Yeah. That's a good
it's
start.
not a popular, you know, here at the university.
You're my style.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, that's.
And I'm prepared to get the lower salary if I don't work that month or that in that part of the year, okay? Because it's my choice. No?
Okay, so I guess it's important to stimulate academics and also to celebrate success as well.
Of course.
To build that culture. Well, at least here.
That's
at
a
the
great,
university,
yeah,
it's not-
we are trying now for years now to make some kind of events, to network, to make the connection between our people, to see that there is a place for everybody, you know? They are speaking about environmental protection from, I was speaking with Alexandra, with Dragana and Djurdja, we are speaking from the other perspectives, you know, we are not doing the same things. I told them, okay, I don't want to do analytics. I use analytics for some other things, you know, I'm not exploring the way how to determine something. I'm exploring how to use these results. And I think that this subject we are speaking about, environmental protection, is the field that you can introduce a lot, not just us, but also the colleagues from the other structures, you know, other study fields. And we are trying to we are using our time, but actually we have a lot of lessons. So unfortunately, we cannot make a lot of events to facilitate to our young researchers to meet them to. I don't know why they don't do that by themselves, but.
And I don't think that the culture of multidisciplinarity is developed enough here.
No.
We have the unique opportunity here. You have every faculty on the same place.
Yes,
very
this is
developed. For me to come to her personally, it's like 2-minute walk.
Yes.
And we don't use it. We don't even cooperate for me enough on the same departments. So also my personal experience when I got my first evaluation was you don't have the multidisciplinary approach. All the people are from the same chair. I admit it. Yes, I didn't even think about it now. I think about it really to include different perspectives, different crafts, of course, that are in a correlation with the project idea. But I think that is also something that we here need to think of.
This is something actually that our office started, that I
Yeah.
mentioned during the presentation, those lunchtime
Yes.
talks that are
Yes.
informal events where all colleagues from the faculty, because our faculty has 5 departments, 5 completely different departments, so they can come, meet, and like in easygoing atmosphere, exchange ideas. And this is how we already started with some like a common partnership and joint initiatives.
Yes, and I think really a lot of time passed before that, but I remember that we came up with the first lunchtime talk. It was like a full room. Maybe it was not the first, but first so well visited, and people heard each other from the same faculty for the first time what they are doing. maybe, I don't know, we should have some, but you also discussed that a web page where each of us can describe a little bit what they are working on right now. So you can connect and make a pop-up Teams for a specific call and a specific project. And regarding the whole university, I think we don't use the opportunity that we are all merged on one place well enough. Okay, we are
There's some companies,
Would like to-
like some kind of magazine, they're writing about the things that some of the teams were.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good, faculty of technical science, we have our newspaper, but we are writing about some kind of visits.
Yeah.
Or visit
Social life.
Yeah, social life, but maybe it could be used in a more better way to introduce teams to maybe to announce some positions at the project. Maybe we are looking for somebody from this who is interested, please apply. There is a lot of ways, but you need people and willingness to go for it.
Regis, I would like to ask you also, what is the situation at the university in Paris? So how do you celebrate success? Are there lots of cooperation internally at the university, like some initiatives for joint initiatives?
The best initiative today is that there is some help for the writing of project, which is the possibility to have a time release, which corresponds to a third of our teaching time, because we have to teach 200 hours a year, and which correspond to half of our working time. So the university could give us a time release, which is not, which is very important. But concerning the network, there is two types of network. As you said, internal network, which is for us much more easy to develop because we are sharing the same building with some other labs, dealing with other aspect of environment, air pollution, and the aspect of biological pollution. So if we want to apply to a project, the internal consortium is already there. But concerning the network, the European network, as I said before, we are now a member of 2 alliances, which help to find some other lab working or completing the project. But we also could use the visit from foreign colleagues, as you were a few years ago when you first time at UPEC and we met, and then we decided to ask us to participate to a project. So sometimes it's just opportunities just which could help to apply to any type of project. But more and more the idea that we work with universities from our alliances. This is a new rules for us. But if and this is how we work for to apply for a European project now.
And I want to say that when we visit UPEC, Regis will correct me, they have the laboratory, the facilities, like Paris has 9 different universities, as I understood, and they everybody come to like Maison, when we were, it's not just for one university or for one faculty, but people from different universities can work there and meet in that kind of way. Yes, when we visit, that was the story. They have the meeting points, let's say, throughout those sort of facilities.
You're right.
Okay, I see that we are running out of time.
Yeah.
So if you are okay with that, I would maybe open the floor to our public and our audience to ask questions to our panelists.
Don't be shy.
Please don't be shy.
Yeah. Still shy.
Also to our online participants.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. I hopefully we didn't scare anyone to apply for the project.
Yes, we have a question.
Very interesting discussion, but I was wondering if it's maybe also part of the like culture in a sense that like nowadays people kind of often tend to feel quickly this imposter syndrome. Jelena, I think I mentioned it a couple of times. That people are they get like maybe not scared, and it looks like a big deal, looks like a whole deal to write a project, to go through all these stages and to win one, and to, I mean, maybe it's kind of like, well, we recently went to the US and there's kind of total different culture of like attitude, mentality, and maybe it's kind of also that's here in all of Europe we're lacking a little bit.
Is the question directed to
All.
Okay, can you explain what is the mentality?
The project then to write a paper. Because when you have an idea, when you think that this idea is good, nobody can tell me that my idea is not good because I think that my idea is the best, you know? And for me, it's easier to write a project because you can just relax, sit and write whatever you want. And if you have a lot of strange things coming to your mind, like strange activities or something that looks not like impossible to make, just write it. Not that you're promising something that you will not actually, if you imagine you can do it, you know? When you're writing paper, you have to fulfill some kind of strong scientific requirements and to pass the I don't know, the hard review comments. Here, you have to have an idea, to find a bright hole for your idea, and then to sit and to release everything from you.
But I don't think his comment was about that.
Yes, about the culture. What do you think? What is the mentality in the United States? What is the difference?
I would say, sorry.
Yeah.
I think people, what I saw is that people are much more self-confident, much more sure of what they want to do and that they can achieve it. Like, while here in Europe, a lot of young people, at least, they talk about everything. Like a lot of
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes, I would like to comment. Okay, you are making the distinction between Americans in Europe. They are a high competitive society, and Jelena knows here our parents finished the school, the faculty, got the job, and stayed on the same job till the retirement, like 30 years. And for me, that culture, unfortunately, is still present here. So you are always afraid to change something. Okay, opportunities in Serbia are questionable when you want to change something, but for me, the competitiveness here is not watered enough. It's okay, perfectly normal to stay in one place. And for me, for young people, that's just not good to come in the same sentence, because when you're young, you want to change stuff, to see as much as possible. But here, security is #1 priority. And it's not necessarily the best option you have in mind.
Maybe I can add, because also I studied at the Faculty of Sciences and I had a chance to study abroad. Maybe it's also the problem with the hierarchic system.
Yes,
in the academia. I think that early stage researchers, young students, they do hesitate.
Yes.
Because there is like a bigger barrier between professors, supervisors, seniors, and juniors.
There's much more difference here than in Spain, I can tell you that. Here, professors, well, here professor is like a god, and then the students are little. you know.
Yes,
Not anymore, right?
yes, my mom is
It's not in our group. It's
Small
not like
number of
Yeah.
students.
Well, I don't know, I studied chemical engineering.
Yeah.
And in Belgrade.
This is also my impression. I also studied in Spain, and I have experience with having a supervisor and mentor
Yeah.
in Spain, and I know that there is much more flow in communication, and I guess, and then students or
It's not a
young researchers, they don't hesitate to freely speak their ideas loudly and to take initiative. So maybe that's also that part of the
Yes.
mentality that.
Okay, it is a mentality for me. I know.
But it's changing. I think
Yeah, I think it's changing. I think the respect should be present, of course, but you have to have the open communication. It wasn't my case, so I know what is Jelena talking about, and I was asked that on my pitching of the promise by your mentor is that the project, you have to write a written answer about that, and I think a lot of colleagues received that, and I was confused. I didn't know why I was getting those kind of letters to explain, and later I got the idea. So for me, it was a natural course of the cooperation. Later, I knew why I need my mentor in the team for a specific task that I still didn't have the ability to perform. But it was any kind of hierarchy of that, what we are talking about present. So I don't know. I think the things are changing for sure. I think the professors in open Maja, I think, can relate.
We are dividing the tasks like equally. So when I started, it was different. We had professors who got the project, they give you the project, they said, work. And please give me in time, all the things you do. And please be in time. Not to be without, please. And now it's quite different. Now we are dividing the tasks. Now, if I have a project, for instance, I'm dividing the task between me, Ivana, I don't know, Ivana, Mladenka, like, equal portion, Maybe, and sometimes I think that.
But that's an incentive.
That's insane.
That's motivation for youngers also to.
It shows it isn't. So I have to change the course. I have to change something. I don't know. Make them more independent.
Okay.
Maybe to give them, I think that the good thing is to give them like the opportunity to lead lead some activities, Then I can then recognize their motivation for their work and for independent work. Yeah.
Do we have any more questions from the public? Yes, Alexandra?
Thank you so much for the great discussion. And I just wanted to ask you, I believe the group teams for the Horizons are deciding to take a professional agency to write the project. That was also from the beginning of Horizon was the case, but not so much now. Almost all these have life. I can't remember why is this?
No, I'm preparing to ask my girl from Hungary how much money is that? Oh no, I don't know. I told you. I told you for IPA, for example. So we have now 4 ongoing IPAs, and we contracted this girl just for one. So for this one, which is like over 2 million euros, because of the I don't know, administration, we had to have a lot of a great number of people in the project team and so on. And the experiences were great with her in the previous project. When we are speaking about Horizon, I'm not trying to find anybody else because I would like to learn how to write a good proposal, I tried twice, okay? I was like rejected, of course. And no, I will not engage anybody in that way before I get my first one all by myself. It's something in my mind. I have to pass that.
Yeah, they don't want to bother. Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. How can you pay some agency who has essentially just writers, but not scientists, to write a project that is a scientific project?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, people use it, but I mean, so I only have one experience in a coordinating project, not by me, actually, by an institution in Denmark. They paid someone, and of course, it was unsuccessful. I mean, they do have some success rates on some calls, like maybe these doctoral networks that are anyway totally.
But you see, I can tell you my experience with this one. She didn't write the proposal instead of us. So we had every day, I don't know, 1, 2, or 3 hours meetings because she cannot put anything related to your topic without you.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. But there is something Djurdja said previously. She knows that tips, tricks, how to make it.
They know the good sentences.
Yes. Keywords.
Keywords, yeah.
They know keywords, how to put it in a way they want to hear. Yeah.
Please now, so for the diaspora call, the difference between us and the institute people that are writing projects much more than we do. Okay, we have to have the meeting for the scientific part, who does what, but when she delivers, she knows exact sentences, exact parts.
Yes.
Very, very well defined and shaped. That's for me the only.
Okay, any more questions?
Exactly.
I think that's that.
Okay. So it was really, really insightful. Thank you very much. I think that we heard lots of different ideas. Researcher has to be firstly self-motivated,
Yes.
self-driven to this.
Yeah. And not
We
afraid.
definitely need some change in mentality and switch in paradigm. So definitely support from seniors. And as understood, also some structures and offices at the institutional level are important. Are important, at least that you as a scientist have less this administrative work.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm thinking that when you had that kind of support at your faculty, maybe then you would not need anybody to reshape your sentences to fit to that proposal, you know? When you have somebody maybe to speak in that office, to go through your proposal. Okay, I know it's extensive, like for my faculty to be, you will need more people for that, but for sure it would be helpful, you know? Because you have to think about the new idea, innovation, impact, everything, and then you have to shape it like in a way they want to read or hear.
And to write it in Belgian English.
Of course, of course.
Of course. Well, I will try to close the topic, but before closing it, I have I'm not developing further discussion. I have just one question, which is really important. It was in Laura's presentation. I think it's a key question for our panel, and I want our panelists to be very honest. So, in one word, what was your motivation to apply for grants? We heard that there are different recognition, money. Everybody said money. I heard it in the public.
For me, to
Career
me,
development.
yeah. One word.
One word.
One progress.
Progress.
Yes.
Thank you, Djurdja.
Good word.
It doesn't have to be
anything saying.
It can be one sentence. It doesn't have to be one.
Yeah, for sure it's a professional development.
Okay.
Yeah.
Professional development. Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Jelena.
Challenge.
Challenge. Great. Regis.
Career development. For it was career development and building networks.
Building.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Djurdja, mi moramo da Pa čekaj, moraš da mi izvedeš kako da izađemo, da prođem kroz kapiju.